Hello everybody, it's Thursday night and you know what that means. It's time for the Newell and Amazon University Esports Teamfight Tactics Spring 2021 Championship. I'm Mas Swan, joined by the illustrious, as always, man over here named Counterfeit. Welcome, sir.
Hello. Nice to be here.
Oh, and obviously alongside Patrick in our production desk. Pew pew. Hello, Patrick. It's time to get into week 4 of Teamfight Tactics alongside with our sponsors, Unite Students. You can see them right below me. Logitech G, which you just saw a lovely advert for, and Twitch Student. Obviously, special thanks to our casters and our other pair over on the other side of the stream. That'd be Viperoon and Aladar. Having skipped week 2 due to technical issues, we're actually almost marking the halfway point in week 4, Counterfeit. We've got a lot to gather in a short amount of time, and I think it begins off by really singing the praises of some of our competitors that have done rather well in these first few weeks.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about where the points lie. So, in week 1, only one person was able to win both of their games. That was YLCO from the University College London. In week number 3, it was the Stealth Bomber of Stealth Alador from King's College London, who somewhat flown below the radar in week 1, only getting thirds in both of their games.
Okay, but then with their double first in week 3, they were able to lead it and now are actually, well, no, this side, there we go, at the very top of the points table. They currently have more than everybody else, and I think they've got something like 38 points. They're leading by 4 points at the moment, which is just exceptional. Part of that win, though, they were able to get through one of them, Counterfeit. They might have had a 3-star Aurelian Soul, so we'll talk about Aurelian Soul a little bit later, but I'm not too surprised they were able to win that. Who else here is notable for us to call out?
Well, we've got Sir Bobs on 32 points. He slid down the table a little bit after week 3. They got first and second in the first week out, but week 3, nowhere near as good.
So we'll have to see. The damage has been done though, and we'll see them and see how for winter number 2, Temsol from last season had a really bad game that haunted them for the rest of the season. Hopefully this won't prevent anything from Sir Bob's, a beloved member. And actually talking about Temslol, he's not in the top of the tables here, Counterfeit. What's happened?
No, it's really bad news with Temslols. They grabbed the same amount of points in a week 1. That they did from the single bad week back in the previous season that cost them the championship. So, not a great start. They did do better in week number 3, so they're kind of back off to the races, but it may be a while before we see them back at the top tables.
Well, there are those points put in place, so they will have an opportunity to catch up, and unless someone like Self Alador or Hermit, which we have seen before from these competitors, obviously getting a chain of a bunch of wins, if Self Alador somehow pulls out an 11 back-to-back, like 11 points back-to-back again, it could be all over. Who else are some other competitors that some of our viewers out there might want to just put into the back of their head to remember for later reference?
Well, we won't have to wait for long because they'll be in our first lobby, but Weevil from the University of Exeter and Hermit from Teesside University, they're tied for second right now. They've both been performing pretty darn well. Not, quite at the same level as Stuff Alador leaping up to the 2 first, but it's pretty close.
It's very interesting to see how these competitors are going to get on. We must also mention that obviously YLCO wasn't able to follow up their week 1 performance in week 3, so they haven't been able to keep themselves in the top at the top, though I believe they're in group number 2, so they're not far off Counterfeit. I believe this week we are going to be on the perspectives of Sir Bobs, and a name that might be familiar to a lot of other people out there, not from TFT though. That's going to be Sir Salty, former caster for the Newell when we used to cast our Hearthstone tournament. Now he's just a content creator, and we love to have him here. I believe University, it's on the screen, University of Edinburgh. It's the North for me, a Southerner.
Everyone is the North for us. Yeah. We fear them. But speaking of fear, we better get on to just talking a little bit about our previous week. Because, as we mentioned, this was the big week for Stealth Alador.
It was.
Take a look at game number 1. They managed to take the entire thing with double itemized slares and a pile of legendaries as well.
I mean, you just have to look at that whole lineup, that set 2, Lee Sin 2. We got Tryndamere with max items. Like, this is a team that's going to pop off. And Counterfeit, how do you actually stop something like this, which is dipping into so many different traits?
Well, I think it's really tough. I mean, Stealth Alador, they did very, very well playing for that lobby. They claimed, when we were talking to them beforehand, they were kind of like trying to fly by the seat of their pants, but they were the only player to make it to level 9 in that lobby. So when you're at that stage, when you've got all these legendaries, you've probably got too much firepower for anyone else to deal with.
So they were able to beat out both Helix and Cry, who both were going for the Kale builds. They both had pretty good items from the looks of things. Rapid Fire Cannon and that Ginsu Rageblade with a Shroud to prevent any CC from happening, and it just wasn't good enough. This is like, Falador found the Slayer comp with all the legendaries, and it doesn't matter if your Kale's about to pop off if she gets Lee Sin kicked off the side of the stage. Both Cry and Helix weren't able to do that, and well, that's how Stealth Falador was able to clinch the victory. 2-star Zillion also. That's kind of rude, Counterfeit, if I must say so myself.
Oh yeah, I mean, Helix did have that as well, to be fair. They just didn't have quite the level of bodies. If we could take a look at our second game in a second, we will, of course, be seeing Stealth Falador taking a win again. But like a lot of our high-performing players, it wasn't even remotely the same kind of composition.
No, I mean, there is still a 2-star set and a 2-star Zillion.
That's true.
But we're going Mage this time around. So what can you explain about this comp? Obviously, we're running that 3-star Aurelion Soul that I've already hinted towards.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, Stealth Falador was leaning very heavily on double Aurelion Soul while hiding behind this front line of the Annie. I think this, the set coming in, the Xenon as well, gave the composition a lot of resilience, even though from Verfel, they had the Kennen. I think that's the first time we've seen the Kennen kind of coming in and performing extremely well at the top tables. And they also had the backup of the Kale and the Xayah putting out a ton of damage to back it up. Of course, we also had, we did in fact have the Kale just blooded for Hermit as well. Though notably, they didn't have the Xayah itemized to help back up. And of course, they also didn't have the Kennen as well. We'll be getting started in just a second, but just to note a couple of other things. You also did see YLCO, we noted it as being our first place winner double time in week number 1. They brought out the Warlords and they got that Katarina all the way up to 3-star. Unfortunately, they still got knocked out because Stealth Falador was doing an awful lot of work there in removing people specifically from play. We've also, of course, notable that we did see a little bit of Fable coming through as well. See there for High Roller and for Helix. Unfortunately, the Fabled really relying pretty heavily on getting that Nico up to 3-star, so it's tough to do when someone else is mining the pool. Those old Nikos, they can be tricky to find even when you're not contested. So, moving on to what's in store for us tonight as we're just about to get started in the first lobby. Let's just see. So we are on a patch 11.5.
11.5 Counterfeit? What is that?
It's the latest patch box one.
Oh my god, patch notes for TFT?
I know, the craziest thing in the world. And we just got out of Rerolled City. Now we're going back into it again because Diana, Nasus, and Nidalee have all gotten buffs. But we won't care about that for now. That's details for later on because we're getting into our first game today. We're following right now to Salty as we can see that sword incredibly highly contested.
Immediately everybody was running for it, but they weren't able to get it. Stealth Falador, obviously our man that we are going to be looking at, as well as Salty. They had to compete. And early on, at the moment, the meta has slightly changed since we've last spoke, Counterfeit. It's evolved a little bit. So what are some of the changes that our listeners and viewers out there should be thinking of?
Well, I mean, we're still in a situation where Slayers are very, very good, and you can pretty much make your living on them. I mean, we saw the sword being very heavily contested. It's still a good item. And the Guardian Angel has suddenly risen up in prominence. But we'll get to see what our players have got in mind here, because as we saw from our previous lobbies, from our previous weeks, if you are contested, then likely you could, well, end up holding hands and ending up with a poor finish.
We're going to see the standard just go for double for Sir Salty here at the moment. Nothing outlandish at the moment. They did get themselves a BF source, so they've got the offense start, which puts them in a pretty comfortable position to be rather flexible early on, at least when it comes to damage output. These are at least core items for almost every build at the moment. I can't think of really one. Obviously, Guardian Angel is required because of BF Sword, but I mean, let's be real. Needlessly Large Rod, needed for Ginsu's Rage Blade. Both of these items are core for Duelist, core for like almost every other comp.
Alright, so let's take a look back in here. We can see we've got some early Duelists dropping in for Sir Bob, so that Callista, of course, is delightful. And that's going to also enable for a very, very early attack onto the Duelist. We've got the component parts for the Guardian Angel you mentioned before, but also for the Spear of Shojin. And, Nidalee did get the buff recently to make her a lot more powerful if she's in a 4-shot shooter composition. That doesn't seem to be what Sir Bobs has in mind, but it's still on the table.
Oh, what is rather impressive by Sir Bobs already, he's only 3 in. He's already got Cultist. That's a very powerful opener. Oh my, and another Callista. Okay. I wonder how enticing is this for you, Counterfeit, if you were in Sir Bob's shoes?
Oh my gosh, it depends really on how much Sir Bob's values. Okay, we've got a very quick answer to that. Not valuing even with reduced max mana. So they had the chance here to go for that Spirit Shojin. That would have been super strong, but it is relying on 3-star in Nidalee. They've got what they've got right now, which is a bunch of Cultists. And Cultists, they are really, really good right now. They're very straightforward to build. Callista and Sivir together, they're both individually strong. And even if you don't want to stick with them long term, you can still have a very strong early game just by having that extra unit.
First few fights are going to be pretty decent for the side of Sir Bobs here. He's built that Guardian Angel, and with Cultist early on, it's just like having an extra unit. That's all it is, really, at the end of the day. And the extra unit of Galio early on, even at base stats, is still very strong as Helix loses this one. As, to be honest, I expected. I don't know about you, Counterfeit, but I expected that, really.
Well, something to note from Helix's side of things, we did see the Dragon Soul, though currently a very weak form of that composition, which is going to be able to strip out a lot of the Galio health pool later on. Galio did get buffed to have more magic resist to make him less, instantly gibbed by any of these Dragon Souls, but it's still a problem going forwards.
Yeah, so where else are we doing? Sir Bob's doing the very standard scouting around just to make sure and see where are people placing their assassins, where are people placing their front lines, just so they can kind of optimize maybe the knock-up effect for Galio, right, Counterfeit?
Oh, for sure. Well, I mean, in this case, you don't really have the choice so much of where the Galio drops.
You don't.
But certainly, looking out to see what kind of competition they run already, because it's worth bearing in mind, while Sir Bob's looks like they've got, a composition right now, they don't have their chosen at this point, and they're getting beaten up by people who do. In this case, Hermit, they've got themselves, well, I assume it's probably a Warlord, Garen there, to start them off.
Yeah, that early Katarina as well coming in, very important. Even if you don't get to do as long as you get one ultimate with a Katarina, you're probably going to be fine. Hermit setting themselves up, hopefully, in the long game for those top 3s that they've always been getting in every rotation. So that definitely is promising for them.
Oh, for sure. Still, I mean, it's consistency that you're really crying out for. Because as we said, if you're consistent, then you can, you're guaranteeing that you don't have those bad weeks where, as we saw for Temlar's, having one bad week is really, really bad. But you can never really guarantee that you're going to have those first places nearly ever.
And as it's currently looking, it looks like Sir Bobs and Sir Salty, the Sirs of the lobby. Gentlemen, even, it looks like it's favoring our current perspective of Sir Bobs at the moment. Salty not able to stand up to the sheer terror that is Galio coming down.
Yeah, so Galio getting a little bit of AI love in the latest patch as form of a bug fix, so no longer jumps and puts himself in a silly place. Let's check in the lobby overall. So we just saw Sir Salty there taking some early losses along with Verfel, both of them fairly far down the track. I have to imagine everyone else in the middle of the table has been trading wins and losses back and forward.
from the looks of things, the only other person that really gets away from this trend, actually, I would argue, Counterfeit, actually the opposite. I think Verfil and Sir Salty have been losing more than and everybody else has only lost one game from the looks of things. Verfil looks rather happy. Salfalador's only lost 4. That's only really a loss when it comes to HP. I guess Malzahar could have had 2. But I just, Sir Salty, at the moment, 2 Vanguard, not great, has decided to prioritize the economy. And with this Nunu, he can actually go straight to 30 and is actually sacrificing it. He's just going all in econ at the moment. What's your perspective? Because obviously Sir Bobs is doing the opposite side. He's going very early about making sure he's powerful and then is going to think about what's going on. He has also got the benefit of just rolling into Cultist 3, which was pretty fortunate.
Well, it's a bottom of the table clash, so both of these players are looking to lose this round. That's why they haven't committed any of their resources. It's just as to who can make their team do the worst. I think Verfil with the sharpshooters, because I think they put the sharpshooters in here to try and stop themselves from bleeding too much, but it's actually going to cost them their loss streak here, so they're going to have to try and change tack and maybe build up a composition that can start winning some rounds.
It's not going to be enough for them. Verfil will take that one. The 2-star NASA's coming out, really helping huge there to at least assist with the front line. Sir Salty still hasn't gone for any chosen here. He's currently looking at a Tristana Dragon Soul, which is not a terrible one to at least get you over the first few steps to keep you powerful, but he looks like he's deciding against it at the moment. Oh, no, he's going to buy it, swap it out for the Rakan. And might be looking to sell the Diana and the Rakan to keep up the 40 gold. Oh, I guess obviously to save that, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think at this point there is a concern from Sir Salty that they may be losing a little bit too much health in the early going. So again, this isn't a competition that's going to be winning a lot of rounds. Up against Weevil here, we can see, who I believe has got a chosen duelist, Fiora, if I didn't miss my guess, and a fairly strong competition. So there's a couple of units getting taken out here, but the loss is still pretty much assured.
Yeah, he has sold that Diana, so he's staying at that 40 gold, meaning he will come into this round with 52 gold because he gets the bonus gold for the loss streak that he's got going on. With the double Tristana here, I would be very surprised if they don't start looking to try and do some form of Dragon Soul. They already had the Braum. It's not off the question. They will need to get some help here off of these golems, though, in my eyes. I think they probably will do it right here with the Gwynsu's Rage Blade and the extra AD from the Guardian Angel. I think they should be alright. The problem that Salty is faced with here is we already know that Helix is running Dragon Soul Tristana last we saw, and if they keep doing that, it's going to take a lot longer to get the Tristana carry going. So, with what we've got so far, we mentioned, Guardian Angel, humongously flexible item, so I don't think they're really tied to anything yet. Yeah, very quick little thing there that we did see Salty do there. He got the extra gold, didn't want to go for the Tristanas. Once he got that Z, he was able to sell it immediately. Level, when he came into this round, he was able to get the extra 1 gold from leveling pre, because each level means you get 1 extra gold for the round. So he lost streaks a bit longer. Everything just works out better for Salty. He's improving his economy, got an extra 2 gold because of all of this. Now he's trying to figure out what he wants to go with this. Did pick up a Siva, so he's at least considering Sharpshooter for the early portion of this game. When would we be expecting for him to transition off? Will it be like something like 4-2 at the moment, maybe? Maybe just before Wolves or end of Wolves?
Probably once you see them get up to level 6 or 7. I mean, a lot of our more successful players have been sort of acknowledging when the game hasn't quite been going their way. I mean, this is being played really well by Sir Salty at the moment, in that they're getting very close, but oh no! They were lit too strong there, so no more lost streak for them.
Actually kind of backbreaking for Salty here, right? Because he wants to lost streak because he was actually only losing a tiny bit of health each time and he wanted to get to 6 and everything. Because that win, now he's incentivized to try and improve the overall power level of his composition, Counterfeit. He now needs to stay really strong so he can hopefully win streak. He probably wanted 1 or 2 more losses just to keep the economy going more comfortably for him. This is devastating, right?
It's certainly a big wodge of cash down the drain. So yeah, we've seen the level up from Sir Salty. They spent out a little bit to get to level 6. They do have the option as they go up against... Oh, Stefalador's also going for looks like presumably a sharpshooter Tristana. So a lot of Tristanas hitting the field. so far, but Stealth Alador is doing a lot better with him, with having the early Morellonomicon. She's a great item holder because each of the shots will proc the Morello, but it's not actually strong enough.
Oh my, the Guardian Angel has come in so clutch for Sir Salty twice in a row. Some people will be yelling at their screens going rigged, but no, Sir Salty back to back, 1 HP Tristana doing her job with the Guardian Angel, and she's able to tank an auto attack, which means she can do it back. Salty just using some of his gold. He knows the direction he wants to go in with this at the moment and is keeping himself at 50. I imagine this is a spot similar to what you were saying earlier, Counterfeit. He wants to get to 7 and then we'll probably sell that Tristana and look to transition into a more permanent comp for the rest of the round.
And we did get a chance to check in there with Malzahar, but we'll come back to them in a second. So who have we got here for Sir Salty? Oh, no, well, there we go. We've got Malzahar already.
Yeah.
Ideal. So I believe that, if I don't miss my guess, we've got even more sharpshooters coming through here, so it's definitely picked up in popularity. I think as well, we've got the Dragon Soul sneaking into there, so Salty, a very short-lived win streak, means that they stay at the bottom along with Hermit and Verthel in the 60s.
And I think it would be fair to say, with this many people going for Sharpshooter at the moment, and at least Sir Salty has been able to reclaim a bit of health back, because health is a resource in this game. As long as you're not at 0, you're still in it to win it. It's definitely in their best interest at the moment to look to transition off. They're going for that Negatron Cloak, so they have some options with items later down the line, though they have already picked up some of their chosen ones. What kind of items, what kind of composition do you expect them to maybe transition into mid to late game? Because there's so many people going for Sharpshooter at the moment.
The thing is with the Sharpshooters, they're very open and very flexible to trying to get into different things depending on how your items go through. We'll switch across to Sir Bob's. Okay, so this is something I was wondering if we would get to see. The Keepers coming in. So it's not a major commit onto Keepers here. But we have got an interesting double Chalice there. And a Keeper chosen. Okay, so we only saw this coming through in the second game of last week. But if you've got the Guardian Angel, the Keepers are extraordinarily strong. We saw them combine together with the Executioners like the Kale. That is going to be pretty brutal. But it's not going to actually be a carry cannon, it looks like, which is interesting.
Oh, it looks like we're going for the double Chalice of Power, put it onto everybody else, and now we're going to get shields for days with everybody else. The cannon ult comes out, and that is... everybody's locked up for so long. The combo comes in with the Galio, and this just seems beautiful, Counterfeit. You set it up, and I'll play it and perfectly. And oh, it was looking really good. I think they'll get it. I think they'll get it with the GA. They'll get it with the GA. I'm sure. I'm not gonna cast a curse him.
You are.
I'm sorry.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I thought you had that, mate. I thought you had it. I believed.
Well, so this is really fascinating what we've got going on with Sir Bob's here, because they've gone a very different route than I was maybe expecting them to go here. So they've got the double Chalice. I'm trying to figure out where they're going to be going here. So that's, you're normally working towards some other unit that you're planning on really buffing the heck out of. A lot of the time that's going to be an Aurelian Soul or something similar. I'm not sure there's actually a tremendous amount of other stuff. Maybe Kale that you want to buff in the same kind of way. Maybe that's what we've got here. The move towards a Venture Kale composition. But that Kennen... With all of that, it's going to be on the front line with chances. So, I don't know. Will remain to be seen. Verthel, I think he's going to get clobbered pretty badly, though.
Yeah, the suck almost solidified that for them, or rather, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't understand my terminology. Whenever I see Aatrox pull a bunch of players in, it's pulled the suck, because he's sucking them into him. And it's just terminology that myself and my partner have used to kind of describe the effects that we see from Aatrox. The suck comes in, everybody's dead, it doesn't matter. We're on Wolves. What we're currently seeing is Sir Bob's has not leveled. Now, can we go over to Sir Salty, please, Patrick? Thank you. He has gone for 7, just like you identified, and he sold the Tristana. So this is exactly like you put, Counterfeit. Where are we going for? What are we looking for?
Well, with the changes to Chosen odds, it's a lot more likely we're going to see a new Chosen dropping down just naturally as Sir Salty goes through. They've got the good item set up here already, which they can put onto anyone. And who be this? It's an Olaf. Unfortunately...
you go for it?
he doesn't have a what he ideally have, which is a well, I say used to be at least the case of wanting to really have the bow. The change interaction with Runan's Hurricane makes it a lot less good of an item. Not useless by any means, but a lot less core. So we've got an Enlightened Morgana coming in. That's a high roll. That's a pretty strong high roll for
big roll, yeah.
It's a 2% chance of seeing that turn up.
Okay. Confused on what's going on here at the moment. I'm just watching Sir Salty and it looks like there's panic on the fingertips. You can feel it. The Katarina hasn't ulted. She ults, and it already looked like most of his team was already dead. So, bit awkward. I'm assuming we're in the transition phase. Counterfeit. I'm gonna go. We're in the transition phase. We can afford a loss or two because we're probably gonna power up really quickly. He had all his items still on the side, right? So let's give him a break.
Well, yeah, I mean, at this point for Sir Salty, they are just playing their strongest board. I mean, you know, they've got a good Morgana chosen. They've got a reasonable item set up here for the Slayers as well, so they could potentially go for 6 Slayers later on. It is all a little bit kind of, you know, just whatever that can be grabbed, but at least they're not as low as Werfel is, down on 31 health. And hey, speaking of the devil, here they are right now.
Morgana's on the front line, immediately ultimate, and because of the changes that came through from Morgana, she's absolutely chaining through the side of Werfel's team. This Olaf won't want to die, can't be disabled. Well, Werfel looking at Sir Salty and goes, "Get over here," and pulls him down to 41 HP. No, 42.
Yes, wants them to join them down in the pit. I mean, that's one of the problems for Olaf just generally, is getting burst. With a Guardian Angel, I would have expected him to survive a little bit better there. I think, you know, at this point, for Sir Salty, they're trying to just ride things out as best as they can.
This is why the rapid fire cannon is so important for them. Let's go over, have a look at Sir Bob, who is still leading the table, 3-win streak, and next one, they're actually on an official win streak according to the client. This cannon is thick. I'm just gonna say that. Look at how big the items on and everything. Sir Bob's is waiting for this cannon to ultimate right here, right now, and he's stunned still. Come on, cannon, there, do your job. There we go. Now everybody's dead, and.
Well, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on here, because as we've seen, you know, that cannon with the Melanomicon is extremely strong and kicks the heck out of Weevil there. Yep. And there's the Kale in the composition as well. But those chalices, they can't really do both things at the same time. Unless that cannon's going to end up getting moved back to the second line to enhance the Kale. I don't know. Sir Bob's is operating at a totally different level than I'm used to. But they've got a good item set up nonetheless. They can build up an incredibly powerful Kale. If they give, you know, the double chalice, it's going to immediately make that Kale hit like a truck, as long as there's some amount of attack speed behind it as well.
So remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not fully sure what Chalice of Power does, or rather, no, it actually is called Chalice of Power. I'm actually right. Oh wow, I'm not. I thought I was using slang for that. Wow, not used to that. When the combat begins, the wearer and all allies in one Helix. So at the moment, it's Aatrox and Jax. They all get 30 spell power for the rest of combat. So actually, Kennen, Aatrox, and Jax are all getting 60 spell power on top of that Morellonomicon, which will also have its own static effect. It improves the amount. It's also giving Kennen mana and magic resist. So he's getting 25 magic resist and 15 mana just base added to him when he starts combat. So in case anyone wasn't sure. As we come in to this round, Sir Bob still is refusing to move. That Jax is still staying there, and I would agree with you. I'm a little bit confused why he's not changing it up.
Yeah, I mean, well, without the executions in the comp, this is what we saw Werfel running last week to some great success. They almost won with it. It was only by the very barest of margins that Stefanador took it. Malzahar, though, as we see here, they've gone down the sharpshooter route a little bit more, and they've built themselves towards a Samira, who's not quite yet the absolute world-ending threat that she'll eventually be, but it's still on the horizon.
Yeah, the Executioner coming in, Zaya really helping out with the Keeper and everything. It's currently working, and even, hey, Aatrox is still doing the job because they have got Cultists still coming out because of their composition, so hey, it's working. I would have expected, honestly, the cannon to have moved maybe back a square, put the Elise forward one, and then have Kale and Callista receiving the buff, because obviously Callista does scale with that, or giving I guess Kindred would have been fine. It's interesting, their positioning. I would agree. The more you've said it, the more you make it obvious to me, and now I'm not sure. Sir Salty's here, and let's see if he's able to find anything.
Yeah, so the two Sirs are point of view players. You can see that the Olaf, with the Last Whisper, Vanguards have been so incredibly popular in nearly every composition because the Sejuani, the Aatrox together, making that Last Whisper almost essential. And okay, oh my gosh, that is filthy. That's exactly what Sir Bobs was hoping for.
Did you see how quickly he pressed enter and immediately went to the chat and went, yeah, easy? What BM from this man? He knows exactly what he's doing, and what a perfect time to do this. Well, like, for Executioner, what does that actually do for our viewers out there, Counterfeit?
Well, I mean, it's going to mean that all of the executions, though primarily Kale, are going to hit like an absolute truck. I mean, it's going to be incredibly nasty. I imagine that there's a good chance, going by what we've got on the bench right now for Sir Bobs, that we're going to be seeing some combination of Keepers or Vanguards as the front line to keep these massive damage dealers in the mix.
It's an on.
It's an on, and this is amazing for Sir Bobs. They have got a ton of health, and they can now trade that health directly for items, and do, I think, what Sir Falador did before, which is actually to have double of your primary carry in the composition.
Oh my god, I'm remembering those moments. We are getting the Yone coming in. Yone has been improved on patch 11.5. It's more often that he's actually going to ultimate without needing that. Let's see how this first one goes. We see a Talon immediately jump onto the Chosen. The Guardian Angel is a very special thing. And now it doesn't matter because this Kayle is still in the back line. She didn't die, and huge damage came out. 5k from one of them, 1.6k probably from the Chosen. No, that was from the 1-star one that hadn't been targeted. Huge damage as we come over to Sir Salty, who's not having as good of a time, has not high rolled to the same extent, I guess I would say, because the Morgana, when we saw her come in, Counterfeit, she didn't really work with what Sir Salty had at the time. He's kind of having to build around the Morgana at the moment.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. There's no Morellonomicon there, which you'd love to see. And you can see that there's a bit of a search going on for that missing 3 Olafs. I would love to see Sir Salty given the opportunity. Oh, actually, hold the phone on this one. One of these two players is going out right now.
Huge opportunity for both of these players. That Talon went straight onto the back line. Okay, the Olaf has already been popped on that, but the Ornn ultimate came through, and it just wasn't enough. The Talon wasn't able to do enough, and Verfil is the first to fall in this one. Sir Falador also received a loss, so we know that they're at least weak, as well as Weavile. So multiple members are coming down into the lower parts. 19, 15, 5 is currently our bottom 3. Commiserations over to Verfil. Counterfeit, this is getting really exciting very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see the gamble taken by Sir Salty here and try and roll and to hit a Chosen Olaf to go straight up to 3-star Olaf. But it's such a risk. If you don't hit it, you've lost out one of your strongest units. So I can understand why they don't want to take that risk right now, but they are still and will remain for the rest of the game on that 5 HP power spike. Every round is potentially the end of the road for them.
We are against a ghost. I'm not completely sure who this is, but that is an Aurelion Soul, and there is mage bonus on them. There are 3 mages there, so that's going to be huge damage coming out. The suck comes in, and oh no, so salty. I think this might be it.
Oh no!
It came from Aurelion Soul, and it did! 7th place to Sir Salty. Commiserations out from our perspective, and then we immediately come over from Sir Bob's just going with Kayle. Is going, I guess I'll win again. What is going on? And oh, this carousel.
I know, life is really tough for Sir Bobs right now. They are burdened by an overabundance of life points. They are burdened by an overabundance of carries. Honestly, I don't know how they still go on.
Is this how Sir Falador got back-to-back 11th points? Is this how he did it? I'm starting to see how you can do it.
I mean, broadly, yes. I mean, we've got the similar situation. We've got, again, a composition built primarily around a single carry being turned into 2 of that carry. I mean, the rapid fire cannon is absurdly good for the Kayle. Yeah, she's not going to have to leave the corner at all. So if we don't have assassins going after her, she will nearly always just wipe the entire board very, very quickly.
Well, we've been informed by our lovely producer Patrick that apparently the players are saying that Sir Bob's has quote-unquote plot armor, allowing him to win through everybody. And what I must say to everybody out there that believes this is, have you not watched anime? We all know that the protagonist, if it was Sir Bob's, needs to go through some really bad times. So he's going to have to lose this in horrible fashion.
I mean, this round isn't going amazing for them, but if the Kale, oh, maybe, just maybe, could this be the end of, well, a relatively small in the grand scheme of things, but bear in mind,
Producer is now a thing.
Well, so Sir Bob's, as I said, oh, I actually take it back. I thought they were still running the Orm, but it looks like they're not. Instead, they've gone for a more switch around. Hermit's got themselves, it looks like, was that Dragon Soul I spotted in there? That would be pretty spicy if it was.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because the Olaf is coming through from Malzahar. So, okay. I'll be honest, Counterfeit. Lots of things are happening here, and it's a bit too much when you're trying to very specifically watch all the screens. And because there still isn't a spectator mode, it does make things a bit more difficult for us here. We're coming against Malzahar. Definitely needs to win. A big loss here, especially against a Kale that is that big, could be devastating. Though the Zephyr helps out a lot with this, though Kale has ascended, and it doesn't matter if your Samira is level 2. Kale 2 is still better, apparently.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The only thing that's really missing here for the Kale is any form of crowd control reduction. So if you've got the Aatrox, if you've got a Sejuani position in the right place, Kale can be taken out of commission for a long time. Oh my gosh, Sir Bob's! Sir Bob's! What are you doing to us? That's another incredible item for them. And confirmation that their plot armor is, in fact, fully intact, no matter if they went for an arc or not.
Point of clean up duty. Weevil, I believe that's how I pronounce that name, has sadly also fallen out in 6th place at the moment. So 6 players left. Malzahar is able to cling on. They've been in one of the bottom spots for a while, but they're okay. They're doing all right. Who else are we? Malzahar is also at 3 HP. Cephalador's at 3 HP. And we're seeing big things coming. Hutmit and Helix both up to level 9. And Sir Bob's, our perspective, is not far off.
Yeah, very, very close. I'm kind of surprised they're not spending out the little bit of money it would take to get up a level here. I suppose, they've got enough to be getting on with. Also notable is we have got the loaded dice in place. So getting up to KL 3-star is not out of the question in this game at all.
No. Plot armor. Producer curse. Caster curse. Sir Bob's. Mule sock buff. Doesn't seem to be working this time, because Dragon Soul is very strong. But apparently that's what I've been told. He has got the Mule Sock buff. So if he wins this, that will be because of it. But with the person falling, Cephalador, our back-to-back 11 points, first places, has fallen in 5th place.
Oh boy, so yeah, that's a huge loss from there. That they had a really strong start as... Okay, we're getting into territory where 3-star Kale is definitely not out of the question. There's a lot of extra stuff going on here, but we look at the health pools. We've got Helix and Sir Bob's up in the 60s, Hermit down at 36, and Malzahar barely holding on to life on 3 HP.
Hermit's here, what's it going against Executioner, and let's see who's able to do it. This Kale, she's been left alone for the whole beginning. This Yone was going to ult, but can't do anything. Rapid fire cannons coming over multiple members, and because she's ascended, she doesn't mind about anything that's going on. This set's going right for the Zaya, which allows this Kale to keep going. GA gets popped, and Hermit falls. That was a win streak of about 5 wins, if I remember rightly. And Malzahar is still winning. He beat Helix.
Yeah, Malzahar still holds on. They've got a lot of work left to do before they can get any further through. Malzahar from University College London is showing a great tenacity here. As we're waiting to see when or if we'll see the roll down to try and find that 3-star Kale. So Bob's... I think they can hold off for the time being. They've got the health pool to allow for it. A remarkably high health pool. And they've still got the 2 Kales to work with.
Malzahar, will you be able to live this one, or will this be your final demise? Are you going to have the tenacity or not? It's a lot of damage, and this Kayle is going completely uncontested at the moment, but she suddenly fell at one moment, but it's not enough. That was 1 HP on that Kayle. You were so close. You were this close. But it was not meant to be. 1 extra character, different levels between everything. I believe Malzahar was 8. That 9 coming through for the Sir Bobs made all the difference. What item are we going for here, Bobs? Okay.
It's not, yeah, it's not, I don't think it's really the item here. I think it's just the Kayle.
Yeah.
So that's 1 more Kayle towards the end of the world situation here, which will come in when Kayle 3 hits the field. I want, quickly for Malzahar as well, I want to note they had duelist Olaf with rapid fire cannon. That was extremely filthy, but still couldn't get the job done. These Kayles with triple buff going through, it's so absurd.
It's kind of obnoxious at this point, but someone's got to have it. We do see Helix asking if he's allowed to have the plot armor for the tier 3 Aurelion Soul. Sir Bob said sure, why not? But
oh my gosh!
Okay, as we come through huge damage, this Aurelion Soul is just auto-attacking a sand minion, and now this Yuumi is jumping onto her. This Kayle has been able to just rapid-fire this whole time, but the ult comes through across everybody. It doesn't matter. Helix is... oh my... she's trying. She's not enough. He does it. Helix wins. So, placement is going to be very important coming to these next ones. Also, I can imagine Kayle 3 would change everything up.
Okay, so there we go. We got it. So this is making sure that the items go as they should be. It should stay on the same items. There we go.
Yep.
So up to 3-star Kayle. So something else that Sir Bobs can do to improve their matchup at this point is to move the Kayle to the center and use these sand soldiers to direct the Aurelion Soul around to fire in the wrong place. I'm curious how they'll end up doing it, because they've got good items as well for a few different carries. It looks like they're going to itemize the Xayah, because this time it's not up against the Aurelion Soul at all.
Absolutely not. It's Rent Mid, and the Kayle has ascended, but she immediately got pulled away from that, so the Divine wasn't able to do as much as it did. But it doesn't matter, because the damage she is doing, her auto attack, ladies and gentlemen, was over 900 damage sometimes. Call the police. That's illegal, if I may steal material from Kadril. What is going on here?
If you're gonna steal, then steal from the best.
Oh, yes.
I mean, yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's a huge damage increase going up to 3-star as well. I think at this point, I think we're actually seeing some of what we're going to be seeing from very high-level players, which is that, just like Stuff Outlaw, to touch back on what we said before, if you can run multiples of your all-in carry, then it's making them incredibly hard to stop. So double Aurelion Souls, double Kayles. They just do a ridiculous amount of damage, and I don't think anyone can stop Sir Bobs here.
I think you'd need to have a Lee Sin. I think back in the day when you used to have Blitzcrank, so obviously I guess if an Ornn had been going through and we had the Blitzcrank hook item coming out, I think that would have been an opportunity, but at this point, you'd need like Zephyrs into something else to try and get away from this. Sir Bobs looks absolutely indestructible, and Helix, I believe, is going to be the next opponent. Oh no, it's Ghost, of course, so it should be a rather straightforward round for him here, though this is the Aurelion Soul comp.
Yeah, so one of the things I'm noticing here is that until the Aurelion Soul gets the Dragon Soul, he doesn't attack very quickly, but once he does get the Soul, he would then delete absolutely everything.
So, was this for you? Hermit sadly did lose to Helix in that previous round, and then we just saw Helix's Ghost beat Sir Bobs. That's not how we expected it to go, Counterfeit.
Well, I mean, yeah, so we can see, with the Azir soldiers, this is set up in such a way to try and counteract the Azir, but that will only take you... Sorry, counteract the Aurelion Soul. They'll only take you so far, because those soldiers are currently only level 1, and I believe they're just going to get blown up the second that anyone gives any amount of attention to them. So I think maybe we'll have to eat our words here. Sir Bobs, even with a 3-star KL, is going to have to, really work hard with their positioning to not just get nailed out by the Soul again and again.
Yeah, this Kayle has ascended, so she can do her thing, and 2 auto attacks. Oh! It doesn't matter. Auto goes through. 1, 2, 3. And Helix, you lose. Not this time. Not this time. Back to back. 14k damage just from that one Kayle. What an absurd situation. Again, buying all the goldens, doing the reroll, trying to maximize the opportunity of seeing that golden unit as it is 15% to try and find that tier 5 unit rather. Hasn't found it. He's not able to get the Azir, and the Azir is really becoming kind of a thorn in Sir Bob's side because he would really like to upgrade his sand soldiers.
Yes, I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. All of these players committing all of their gold for this one. Well, if Helix loses here, this will be the final fight. So they've set themselves up. So notice as well that the Sejuani is in position when she gets her ultimate off to stun the Kayle, but it's not coming out quickly enough. And
this Kayle is just, she's absolutely chaining through everything. The Zillion ults have come through, but it doesn't matter. GA has been popped though. Kayle, can you do this? 1, 2.
Oh!
What? He did it!
It's Zillion. Zillion gave the resurrection to the Aurelion Soul, so as soon as he came back up again, he was able to outlast the respective Kayle Guardian Angel. That was beautiful.
An insane story of events. Both players are now in a spot where if 1 or 2 extra units just happen to be remaining on the board when they go on, anyone could win. This is on a knife's edge, and this is the epitome of TFT esports, ladies and gentlemen. Counterfeit, I love this.
I love as well that this is the one game in which we see our players chatting casually to each other just before one or the other's grisly demise. I mean, I'm still going to look out for some of the positioning here in this one, because it's, again, going to be so important. We're seeing the tweaks back and forward, where the Yone ends up using his ultimate across, cuts down the defenses, where the Swain ends up cutting through. But, as you said, it's all really about the Kayle.
So that was a huge ultimate that came off the Azir and knocked everybody up, and it prevented the Aesop from doing their thing. They haven't been able to go through much, but the Kayle's already gone down. She has resurrected. 1, 2, 3.
Oh!
It's did it again! 17 HP. We've got another fight for both of these. Let's run it back. Can the Azir come out? 1. He gets another reroll. Gets another reroll. He found the Azir too. Okay, max power up opportunity. He's been searching for this for about 4 rounds now. He got it. Let's see who wins this game. Both competitors very much wants to win this. You can feel it. Sir Bob's or Helix, who will be taking the #1 spot in this first game? This is game 1 of tonight, Counterfeit.
I know, it feels very much like a final, because both these players are giving absolutely everything. As you said, Azir is powered up here. We've got pretty much, looks like this more or less the same setup here. So see if Helix can pull it off. I think this time we're actually doing quite a lot better. That Swain in the middle is tanking like crazy, and that's going to mean they get a solid win.
Yeah, that huge opportunity that came out, they weren't able to do anything there, and that means that... I can't actually think of what to say here. I'm just kind of flabbergasted at this point. Sir was not able to do it, and what an opportunity. I thought he had this. I really thought he hit. I thought Helix wasn't going to have enough. He was so much further ahead for the early round. But then that was it. What an opportunity. It stunned me for words, Counterfeit. I was actually brought to not know what to say. I'm still a bit flabbergasted, honestly. What an opportunity.
I mean, let's take a look back at the the results here to try and calm our spirits. I mean, in a game where you have a 3-star Aurelion Sol and you have a 3-star Kayle, who's to really say that anyone's got 3 stars at all? It's all just, it's
What does it mean
equalized.
to 3-star a unit?
But let's go through some of the bits we'll pick up here. So, Verful, who's been around for an enormously long time, they tried out the Enlighten this time around. Did not work for them at all. We did see a lot of Slayers coming through, and we saw Kayle also from Weevil. It didn't work out anywhere near as well, despite having a pretty similar item setup.
Yeah, Hermit obviously going for the very standard Katarina carry, not going for the healing variant that we do sometimes see with the Gunblade, but didn't work. So Salty, as we saw, our other perspective in this game, wasn't able to really make it work. They had that chosen Morgana, but then they also had this Olaf. It was kind of pulling them in 2 different directions. They weren't able to get the full Slayer comp, but they weren't able to kind of go full Dragon Soul. They had double Olaf. They were definitely hoping to do it. They did the double carry comp that you had been talking about throughout the match. just wasn't able to work from Verfil as well, sadly falling even with that early Yone and Ornn.
Yeah, I mean, oh boy, it's really hurtful when you see such things. But I think, particularly in the case of the Slayers, there is a danger that we've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3 at least players who've got 2-star Olaf over the course of this game, and so Salty, who's got 2 of them. So, it's some amount of reading the lobby and reading the meta and seeing what people are going to be going for. Most of the time, that's going to be Slayers. In this case, we actually, I wanted to call out Hermit here in particular. We saw Warlords go last last week, so I thought maybe we wouldn't see Bill coming back in. Third's still pretty good.
That's very good, very respectable. And as we were mentioning on broadcast, consistency is the key to make a deep run. Obviously, Malzahar was able to get a pretty deep run with double Samira 2, which was the exact same for Self-Valador. They were going for somewhat similar comps, just going off in different directions on their personal decisions on which is more powerful. Counterfeit, what a first game for the day. Can anything match this? We've got ASOL 3 and KL 3. Sometimes we have games where people don't even get to 3-star tier 4 units. We saw both of it on both sides in the finals. What a decision.
I mean, yeah, I think what it does speak to is that we've got a certain kind of meta evolving here, which I think is coming from the way the players are playing, because they're trying to be cautious. They're trying to not be greedy. They're trying to maintain a consistent performance. And I think that's what's allowing us to get to these ultra late game situations where a 3-star forecast is a realistic concern, as opposed to being, what are you doing? You've invested in something that doesn't even do anything for like half the game.
Yeah, and to say how late game we really did go, I think we ended on 7-6. I don't think I ever really get that deep into a game of TFT. Normally I've either horrendously died or I'm victorious by such a margin, everybody else is dead by 6-1 because I'm just the best. But obviously, ladies and gentlemen, I have to thank our sponsors for bringing this lovely broadcast to you. Obviously, thank you to the Newell and Amazon University for helping us out here. Unite Students is one of our sponsors, Logitech G, and Twitch Student for helping us bring everything. But with that all said, ladies and gentlemen, we need to go to a short break, regain our composure, and become professional again, because I've definitely lost some of that. And then, Counterfeit is perfect as always, obviously, so it doesn't matter. And Patrick, thank you again. Let's go to a break.
can feel it rushing through my veins. Your love's the only drug I know. But we've been playing the hand now we're dead, but we can light it up. I know that we can make it through the night, but I can feel it for you inside. So there won't be no fear tonight. We crossed the line, and now it's clear to see the light behind the suffering. Believe we'll finally be free. Let the silhouette cast upon your heart, turning every little moment into scars. Baby, it's our chance to make a start, so we can fly.
I know that we will make it. I know that we will make it. I know that we will make it. I know that we.
I know that we can make it through the night, but I can feel it for you inside. So there won't be no fear tonight. We crossed the line, and now it's clear to see the light behind the suffering. Believe we'll finally be free.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Newell and Amazon University Esports Teamfight Tactics Spring 2021 competition. I'm still Moss One, and I believe, sir, you're still Counterfeit, right?
Yes, no sir, yet, but I'm working on it. I mean, I've been learning a lot from our last game, because apparently we're here from Masterclass in TFT.
A well and true masterclass coming out from Helix. Obviously, I mean, really, it was just a whale of emotion. Sir Bob's got the highest of high rolls, but in actuality, Helix had the highest of high rolls. Counterfeit, what were we missing outside of maybe a golden Samira or a golden Lee Sin, like 3-star gold, like truly absurd territory? I just can't really imagine how much further we can go with this. Where is the ceiling? How far much further is the ceiling?
I think honestly, this is the. I think that's the biggest we can go with the competitions. Realistically, you mentioned the 3-star 5 cost. Those are like the one in I don't even know how much, but the compositions we saw from Helix and Sir Bob's there, they were 1 in a million compositions by themselves. So we had 2 of those in a single game, which meant everybody else just had to get out of their way.
Of course, it was just requiring so much. Quick of note, because I almost forgot during my introduction. Obviously, this coverage is brought to you by our sponsors, Unite Students, Twitch Student, and Logitech G. Counterfeit, we've got our standings currently and how they're currently standing up in the group. Salvador and Helix tied for first place now at the moment. Salvador didn't have a great showing in the previous round and kind of tanked their lead that they had.
Yeah, I mean, they came into this one looking incredibly strong, but to have a 2-way tie for first, a 2-way tie for third, which is only 1 point behind, and then Sir Bob's only a single further point behind them. I mean, this is fantastic stuff. This is the best way it could have ended out, which means it's completely anyone's tournament.
Which means also, we're actually going to have someone in first, someone in second, and then after that, it might have some tie placement, but at the end of it, we can definitely give Viperoon and Aladar, our other casting pair duo, a first and second place to at least talk about.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and as well, for this lobby, we're going to be seeing Yassen and YLCO, of course, we mentioned way from before, who got those first 2 wins of the tournament, the 2 in a row, returning back to the top table. So they've got a chance to try and build up their record once again.
Yeah, YLCO had a very strong showing in the previous round. Yassen is a new name to us, really, Counterfeit. We've seen them before in this iteration of the tournament. They've been flying around the top spots, but University of York coming through and currently in the top tables. Really well played from them. Can't discredit them anymore. I do believe it's the first time that we're showing them on cast, though, so I am looking forward to see if they've got any unique strategies or ways to play it, because you never quite know until you play. I'm feeling way far back where we always used to see certain players have their particular characteristics or compositions that they always try and index onto.
Well, yeah, I mean, based on what we saw from the previous game, I would imagine maybe a canny player here will be looking to try and really be oppressive during the early going, because last time we saw these late game competitions, once they get there, they are completely unstoppable, but up until that point, maybe there's still room to wriggle.
Absolutely. As we come into this carousel, our perspective will still be Sir Bob's, and he'll be our main perspective for everybody, as he well put. Good luck, have fun, happy face, everybody. Obviously, you know your place to win is going to be at Logitech. Remember, keep buying, keep playing. Logitech gear is #1 sponsor for us over here, alongside obviously our other sponsors who are tier 1 as well in their own respect of Unite Students. And I believe it's Twitch Students as well, who are tier 1 in all of what they do. Think I saved that one, Counterfeit. BF Sword over here for the Bobs.
Don't worry, nobody noticed anything. They'll be too wowed by all of the golden hits. You can see our lobby, they're all chatting with each other now about whose turn it is to get the 3-star forecast. And, I mean, it certainly is very powerful. Again, there is still possibility with some of the reroll comps getting a little bit of power put back into them this time round. To maybe see someone try and go for some early stuff. And, well, we've got it there. We've got a mage brand. Not maybe going to hang around long term, but at least it gives you some early punch to kick things off with.
And that is very much, this is reminiscent of the last set and the kind of the iteration and evolution that we've been seeing from TFT. Obviously, earlier versions of TFT, you picked your comp early game, and that was kind of what you played. And unless you were playing a lot higher elo, that's when you would start switching off and do other strategies. Now it's very meta to kind of play whatever the most powerful thing is at the moment in time. You don't commit to it, you don't love it, you don't marry it, and then you plan to switch off earlier on. We're seeing the epitome of this at the moment with that Twisted Fate being there. We're going for Mage at the moment, but we're not even going to try and level up our Twisted Fate. That's how unmarried Sir Bob's is, if that made sense at all. He doesn't want to stay this way.
With the changes to the Chosen odds, now that it's vastly more likely you'll get a new Chosen on every single attempt out, you can be a heck of a lot more choosy in what you're going for here. I mean, even without trying, that's both of the mages now at 2-star, of course with the Chosen. We've got ourselves one off from getting Cultists in as well, so even without committing any items here for Sir Bob's, they're pretty close to having a early game composition that can carry them at least through stage 2.
I mean, Subbobs is very strong right now with all of his units, his level 1 units being tier 2. I've gone into first rounds before where I can't get that. And a very early on Hurricane has been made, a Runan's Hurricane and a BF sword. I imagine this is all being put onto the Elise because he's not going to be using this champion for a particularly long space of time.
Well, the nice thing about having the Runans on there is that Elise is not only going to double up on her healing effect from hitting 2 targets, she's also going to double up on her silencing effect as well. So that's going to make her extremely strong. The only caveat here for Sir Bobs is by completing that Runan's Hurricane, they have closed themselves quite a few doors. You know, this is going to be great for Olaf, it's going to be great for Shyvana, it's going to be great for Callista, but for Kayle, for instance, it's not going to be anywhere near as good.
No, they're not. They don't have that opportunity, but we do see in another keeper coming in. I never realized that's how that worked. Of course it did with Elise. That whole time you were doing that, I was like, oh my god, I'm such a dummy. How could I have not witnessed the most obvious facts that are in front of me? But as we go into this round, so far I imagine Sir Bobs is going to look to try and extend this victory. Bunch of tier 1 units, perfect place for Sir Bobs to pick up another victory.
Well, there is a pretty solid setup here for Hermit, so they're going to be able to burst down the Elite pretty quickly, but no, it does seem like it's still too darn strong, Sir Bobs. So they've added in the Keeper Shield as well to allow for Elise to stay alive, you know, a little bit longer, to get transformed while still being at a good amount of health. And it all kind of multiplies together to make her a front line that will keep your backline of mages intact long enough to get their own casts off.
And that's not to say that Hermit isn't strong. I think his composition is actually half decent at the moment. He is playing duelist, but he hasn't been able to do much with this. And that's an interesting dilemma that Sir Bobs is currently looking at. He's like, well, I'm really looking to win, so I want to sell it. Oh no, he's actually going for the level up. To preface this, obviously, for when he comes out of Carousel, he'll be level 5 and maybe look to sell this Chosen and go for something different. There are options at least open.
So let's check around and see what we've got here. I believe we did see some Brawlers in the mix, which is going to discourage a potential move towards Brawlers on Sir Bob's side, as well as, hey, there we go, YLCO. They are going onto Mages for themselves. I don't think they've quite got anything but Mage, and they've got no item commits either, so this should still be a win and allow for Sir Bobs to go into Carousel with the win streak intact.
I think it's Mages with the idea that YL wants to go into Dragon Soul, as he did have that Braum on the front line, so he's one away as well from Dragon Soul, but we'll have to wait and see. That Elise, when she transformed, just healed almost back up to immediately up to full health. That's 80 HP she's healing per auto attack. With the Hurricane, when it's onto 3 different targets, that's a lot of health. That's over 200 HP she'll be healing from 1 auto attack with that BF sword coming in just to add a little bit more. On top of it, Carousel, suffering from success is Sir Bobs.
Yes, we'll have to settle. Though at this point, they're not probably too mad if they end up with a bunch of different options here. I mean, you know, they'd love to be able to, well, I was going to say, they'd love to be able to have a Guardian Angel. That's going to be off the cards now. The sword is actually sticking around for a long time, as Helix is also on 100, also undefeated. And, okay, it's going to have to instead be, let's see. Oh, interesting. So that would build it into the Bloodthirster, but I can't imagine that's what's immediately on the cards here for Sir Bobs. Presumably they're thinking towards the later game where they would maybe have some other things to consider. And also the Lantern drop, that should give them... Oh, there we go, another sword.
Okay, so now with the Deathblade with the Hurricane, I'd be very tempted to just make a Deathblade here because you've already got the Hurricane and he's going for it as well. This is the most obvious line. What kind of comp do you expect to see Sir Bobs to try and use these items? Because these are very, these are broad items, but typically you want to put them on a hyper carry, right, coming into the mid to late game.
Well, yeah, I mean, these definitely, you know, seem like they're going to be the, you know, the Olaf items, certainly from when it used to be that the Hurricane was absolutely core. I think it's still absolutely fine. It's not as said, you know, it's not as brutal as it once was, but it's still very good. You do have an option to potentially go through to maybe something like Cultist with these kind of items as well, because, you know, these are still somewhat flexible items, so they're mostly seen on Olaf's. I'm trying to think if there's a way to make this work with Brawler. Maybe?
Maybe. We did see Serbob sadly losing for the first round, losing their Mr. 100 status, whereas Helix has now gone to 4 wins in a row. Too much tankiness and losing the Elise as their first minion is really cost Serbobs a lot there. They just didn't have the damage to be able to carry through, and just the Brawler big boy comp with the Keepers as well was just a bit too much to handle for the damage when their main damage carry at the moment, this Elise, which is an unorthodox carry, typically, wasn't able to get there. They have now got Cultist. They were able to get that Vladimir in, and they've still got Jarvan, so they have got Keeper. They've got options still.
So we are seeing some more cultists coming through, as much as we've seen this from Sir Bob's as well. At this point in the game, it's kind of a much for muchness between the two of them. You know, we've got the cultist, the Galio 3 coming in, who is mainly there as a disruption force and as a tank. But notably for Malzahar, they haven't completed the items as of yet, at least not in a major way. So they're losing out pretty convincingly to Sir Bob's, who I think is... I don't know if they're actually thinking about changing out their chosen at this point, because all that really we're seeing Brand do at the moment is provide crowd control, and say it, and it happens.
It's almost as if you're predicting the future here, Counterfeit.
Ooh,
It's a free reroll, so obviously it's an ideal opportunity for Serbobs to go for it. He's not really using the Mage. He's far more interested in Cultist, and yes, Mage is lovely when you're working for it, but he wasn't working for it. It was just kind of a happy little accident that kind of was working. It was the most powerful board, but his most powerful unit at the moment is now this Elise, and we'll probably be looking to try and transition off some of these items that are currently sitting on this Elise and maybe move in a different direction. He would be ideally looking to I replace the Elise with another Elise, and just so it doesn't really cost you anything, and just kind of move the items off. Doesn't have the magnet because that was not what he was able to get off of his free items. So yeah, he's got the test, he's got the dummy, so he's gonna have to wait and see where it does go here. A lot of options here for Sir Bob's, but that's not an ideal chosen. That is a fabled chosen Nautilus.
Yeah, I mean, this is what our players were talking about before this all started, is that there's so much tied up in which, these are early commit items from Sir Bob's. They've closed so many doors on the kind of competitions they can run. Now they've got 2 major carry items. These aren't, just kind of throwaway items they've thrown in here. These are items that pretty much determine what kind of competition you can run at all. You can't now run a mage competition, for instance, because all these items are going to be useless.
You can't. Weevil comes in, and that Nidalee is huge when it comes to items, and she's just going to get bigger and bigger. This is a sharpshooter comp that is more than happy to look against this Elise, but the Elise just is kind of tanking everything, and every time the auto attack comes through, she heals up for over 80 HP, and it was enough. I would also like to admit the Galio knockup did help a lot there.
Yes, I mean, just when you've got a competition that's building a lot of carries in the corner, having the Galio just come in and pop them all on the head, reset their aggro as well by crowd controlling them, is fantastic. Okay, there we go. So, if we are eventually building up towards, will probably be a Cultist and Slayer as some combination, we've got a lot of flexibility. This Sivir did get nerfed a little bit at its 3-star stakes, but can still very much be a major carry. Sharpshooters in there already, Cultist 6. I think this is going to be a pretty good run for Sir Bob's, who's currently up at the top of the table.
Can definitely look to maybe slow roll, try and find some upgrades for those tier 1 units. If it's not a Cultist, he might be looking to sell it, as he's already kind of prioritizing his current comp, maybe thinking about trying to get the Keeper back in. That Galio is waiting to come in, and the Shyvana from the enemy side of Safaldor really working out here, but the knockup's helping, and Siv is able to do exactly what she does. Galio didn't even get the taunt off, and Siva outputted 6.5k damage. What?
It's just Sivir thing. She gets an absolutely massive damage boost when her ultimate comes through. She's got Runan's Hurricane, she's got the Sharpshooter to spread all this damage to get as many procs as possible onto the Deathblade. She is stupid strong. And, you don't even necessarily have to go to 3-star if you aren't finding a lot of the Sivirs in the shop. But if it does come up, it's still incredibly powerful.
Obviously, you can still look to try and go into the direction of something else. Obviously, you'd love to get a Callista 3-star. That's like far more ideal in some spots because of the items that she can use. Obviously, you want to try and get an Aatrox at some point. And if you can get the full 9, because we are chosen cultists, so it is possible. If you get 9 cultists, you get that Zillion as well. We could be off to the races with Surbobs. It's a long way there, and there's an Azir. There's already an Aatrox on the opposite side. Hermit is also going for this, the cultist, but it's not going to be enough because you can just see the difference in size and stature and how much power that Surbobs' Galio is outputting. Look at that, more power. Hermit is thinking, well, that's not ideal. There's a 4-win streak now coming up for Surbobs.
I mean, it's brutal stuff. I mean, this is so incredibly good for Surbobs, as they'll now probably be looking for a companion item to go with that sword on the Sivir. I mean, it's worth noting as well that if the Sivir doesn't need to stick around long term, if a Samira becomes an option later on for Surbobs, these items will work extremely well for her as well.
So what other items are we thinking we would like to pair with this BF sword if you could have any option of any item at the moment? Obviously thinking we've got Hurricane and Deathblade. Would we be looking for like a chain vest for a GA or something else?
Well, I mean, this will make the difference as to what kind of characters we can build up here. If we've got the chain vest, then we are still leaning much towards the Olaf because the Olaf needs that to function. Right now, we've got a surplus of Negatron cloaks, which you don't really want to be using that last slot, that last very valuable sword for something like a Bloodthirst, which is only going to help you marginally get through, as opposed to being a game-deciding item.
I mean, obviously, Quicksilver Sash, or just Quicksilver, is an option into the mid to late game as long as he's able to find some sparring gloves. A Zephyr is always on the option, but currently, the items he has offered to him is an Ionic Spark, currently just chilling on the side of the board. Not really something that he's looking toward to go to at the moment. And another thing of note, Counterfeit, a lot of his units are still tier 1. That is going to be an issue come mid to late game.
So we check in with Yasin and their own items. We can see that Yasin, one of our players coming in from the lower tables, has a lot to gain here. If they finish strongly, they'll be able to stay at the top tables and guarantee themselves the most bonus points. They've got themselves a strong Kale setup here with already the defensive item and also the jeweled gauntlet to help enhance those execute attacks.
Yeah, in that battle that we saw there, the Sivir fell rather early on, so that was a huge amount of Surbob's damage, and we kind of saw what happened if an assassin or if anything that's able to access the back line can get on this Sivir early on, how demonstrable it can be. And the front line at the moment for Surbobs isn't really there. If this Elise falls, if this Vladimir falls, it's a bit all over. It can be very quickly onto the back line, and there's not much more they can do, though they are hoping for that win as we're sitting at 49 gold.
Alright, so Helix, one of the players we haven't seen a ton of so far, they have got themselves a very early Aurelian Soul, with presumably the items going onto the Aurelian Soul from the brand at some point during this. They don't actually have a ton of backline access, so this is one of the ones where this, as you noted, not incredibly strong anymore cultist composition, still able to get a win through.
Still able to get there. Helix was doing it. That Sivir did fall at the very end, but it definitely did start to feel a little risky and dicey until that Galio came down and really started to pull a lot of the DC and aggro. But that's all you really need to do as we come into 3-7. Wolf Camp is here, and we're seeing the level up come through. Surbobs is trying to figure out, do I want to go for the level and sell the Sivir? Sivir's pretty good. My comp's all in cultist, but maybe what else would I be looking for? Obviously, we saw huge things come out from the A-Soul and the Kale. Obviously, a few other the players are already going for Kale, and Helix is committing to that 7, wants to try and get a better chosen.
To just answer your question from a second ago, I don't think we see Surbobs pivot out here, because the best they can hope for is another 3-cost carry. If they go to level 7, which I guess they are going to be doing right now, they could high roll a 4-cost, but it's 2% chance. So, I don't think they're realistically going to get a better composition than they've got right now without having to sell up and change pretty much everything. So, Surbobs is still up at the top of the table. They've got a good health pool to work with. I think for now, they just, they say, this is the best I can do. Just ride it out, get to 8, and then pivot to wherever I turn up on my level 8 chosen.
Of course. So now we get those items coming through. Surbubs has some options. He's gone for the crit glove on this. We got all in damage. The Sivir is probably where we're going to be staying with for a long time unless we get a rapid fire cannon and maybe something else comes out. This Jax is being rather frustrating for this Sivir to deal with, but it wasn't going to be enough. Damage just came out and VFL fell, and the upgrades that we saw coming out for Surbobs in this round paying off in dividends.
Yeah, I mean, we were wondering what that BF Sword was eventually going to get committed into. I think they were maybe holding out for a potential turn-up of the Chain Vest, but it just wasn't happening. So instead of committing for later on, we've got the power right now. Sivir has an absolute ton of attack damage. She's got the Death Blade, she's got the Runehands, but she's also got her built-in passive to give her bonus attack damage that is further enhanced by the Infinity Edge. So she's hitting like a truck right now. It's a sacrifice of later on, but I think for Surbobs, they're trying to ensure they go into the late game with a ton of health again.
Yeah, we are at that 1% chance as well for tier 5 units, so if Surbobs does happen to see that one more item, well, that Zillion comes out, it will be go on to 9 cultists, I imagine. Selfalador, try as he might, that Sivir was left untouched, so it doesn't really matter. 7.5k damage coming out, and she's doing so much for Surbobs at the moment. Without her, he would not succeed, but I think I'm safe to say, because of the selling that happened and where Surbobs is currently sitting, I think we're going for the 9 cultist counterfeit. I think we're going for it.
Yeah, I mean, it could well be. They're in a pretty comfortable position right now. Notable, though, in second place, Hermit is on a winning streak, and they just picked up a 2-star Tryndamere. So, while right now Surbobs is in a good spot, you mentioned that backline access threatening the Sivir. She's got no defensive items whatsoever. She gets aggressed onto, she is donezo.
No, Malzahar coming in, hasn't got a way to access that backline outside of the Pike, but the Pike is level 1, and guess what? Killing a few of these units, getting some attacks down, either through the Hurricane or Sharpshooter is going to be great. She's ulting, and she's going for the damage. She's going for the kill, and she was successful. She was very successful. A lot of damage came out when the moment I said it, counterfeit. 50 gold as well for wins. Hermit lost that time around, and I think it was to VFL there. I wasn't able to confirm it because lots of people won and lost all at the same time. But our man Surbobs suffering from success. I hate to sound like a broken record, but it really feels like just he gets the pick of the litter at the end, counterfeit. What can he do?
I mean, I don't feel like Surbobs is feeling too bad right now.
I feel awful. It's the worst feeling.
But I can tell you who is feeling bad. That's YLCO from our first week standout, dropping out in 8th place very early on, where you can see Malzahar just above them still has 36 life. So YLCO, I think we did see a little glimpse of them going towards majors, but apparently their game did not go well. So perhaps it will be back down to those lower tables to once more try and build up towards, the idea of thinking that you might have peaked in the first week. That's got to eat at you.
Eat in the first week, get a win, then a last place in week number 3, get a win, and then a last place in week number 4. For YL's sake, I really hope this doesn't become a trend for them, where they're just like, I can do really well in one lobby, and then I just run it down the second lobby. Hopefully you can come back and found it out. Everybody else in the rest of this lobby is in pretty reasonable place. Malzahar all the way up to Yasen. There's only a 11 HP distribution between the two of them. This Aurelion Soul got pulled in, and the suck happened. Kennen ultimate came through, lockdown, and then we see the Galio chain of CC. Perfect. This is League of Legends. This isn't Teamfight Tactics, counterfeit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great team that's been put together by Surbobs. I mean, they're working it flawlessly. You do see Helix there. They're sneaking through with some Dragon Soul action. So, again, if we mentioned way back before, the Galio will suffer a little bit against the Dragon Soul later on once they start ripping through the max HP pool, which the Galio relies on to survive.
As we see the very standard action that Surbobs has done multiple times on stream, he is just looking to find out where the best slot is. He's probably not moving his comp. Unless he feels like he has to, he's just trying to figure out where's the best spot for my dummy to take the most amount of aggro early on, so then my units then attack them after. We fell. what you got for us? This is another A-style composition. He was originally playing something a little bit different. He was in on that Nidalee sharpshooter, remember? That's where those items have gone. That pike went on straight onto the back line. That's not ideal, though. We have no defensive items, and this Sivir is now on the front line. But good enough, because guess who came down to save the day? Oh, just in time as well. It was Galio.
Yeah, the Galley Bro coming through pretty
I
big
love
there.
that.
But, I mean, we're getting a little bit of a taste of what we're going to be seeing from Weaver later on. They've got double buffs coming into the Aurelion Soul. Once you start putting that together with other items, that Aurelion Soul is going to delete whole teams by themselves.
Helix and Hermit going right for level 8 as respectively done so. We've seen this before. We're seeing our first place competitor of Subbobs deciding not to go for it. He did throw a lot of gold into that level 7. He probably will be going for it maybe next round, or we'll probably see it on 5-2 where it will be only one level up. Ooh, he got a bunch of gold now, so he could sell this cannon and go for it now. Get the extra econ. Waiting for all the items, he's just gone for it and then sold. Yeah, he sold the pike instead. I think it's negligible at that point. He does have an opportunity to put a new unit in, and he's rolling and finding some good items. Is he going to roll down here, Counterfeit? Is this the spot where you roll down and try and find some better items, or is this a bit early on unless you can put 9 cultists in?
I think that it's pretty safe to try and put some money out. You're protecting a 6-win streak here. You have just spiked up with, you've got the Dragon's Claw, and now you've got a Kennen who's going to be able to buy an enormous amount of extra time for your composition with a huge slicey Maelstrom. Someone who's using the same strategy, though, is Falador. They've got their own Kennen, and they should be able to chunk through a lot of these clumped units pretty quickly.
Well, the suck came out pretty big there, Kennen. Our Kennen, whose Kennen wins? Well, Galio comes down and says, what about if I play a part in this? Sivir hasn't been able to ult yet, and she's still doing her auto attacks, and that's a very big Shyvana. She's looking to do it. Crit. Shyvana is the way to go. The Dragon Lady reigns supreme, and that ends the 6-win streak that we saw Sir Bob's having.
Yeah, I mean, now it's going to be at the change point. I mean, I love seeing these streaks come to an end specifically because it really puts the pressure on the player to say, okay, you've reached...
I gotta stop you. Is it because you like ending people's streaks in TFT?
If only, Marsom, that was within my powers. No, it's more that we see these really good players, and once they reach the end of these streaks, they then have to say, okay, I have to make some kind of change to my composition here because it's not good enough to beat everyone in the lobby.
Yeah, no, it actually makes sense. Helix here on their own win streak is going to see if it gets stopped. Shyvana is on the backline. The pike has gone around, and now so much damage is going. Aurelion Soul just went through, and even with the ultimate, is it going to be good enough? Double kill, triple kill, quadra kill. Helix, your Aurelion Soul is legendary.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. Aurelion Soul, we saw them last time with just buffs, but without the items. Now they've got buffs, and they've got items as well. They are nightmarish. I think this is no longer tenable for Sir Bobs. They've got all of their items tied up in a unit that can't protect itself, and has got nothing else there to stop it from just getting blown up immediately.
Question to you now, Counterfeit, and this is a big, important one. Does Nine Cultist solve this problem? He's still got the Twisted Fate chilling on his back line. He is only looking, at this moment in time, for that Zillion. Is it enough? He's got the Elise, he's got the Twisted Fate. Does he do it if he sees it, or is it all for naught and it's not meant to be?
Well, the 9 Galio drop is really impressive. It's got a lot more magic resistance than it used to, so it's not as vulnerable to getting taken out. But as we see here from Hermit, there is a problem with relying heavily on a single unit, and that's you might get punted off the board no matter how many HP, how much attack damage you have. You're still vulnerable to that Lee Sin.
I believe Sir Bobs might be having flashbacks, Patrick. I do agree with you on that one. There might be, not like this, not the Aurelion Soul, not the Lee Sin. None of these things are happening. I have full control. He will have options to go for the Zillion here. He's deciding to go against it. No, he actually went for it. He's gone for the Spirit Surgeon. He's going to try out the 9 cultists and see how it works out for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very, very good. And as you said, this is a big opportunity to ride that. It does mean that we'll have to be dropping the sharpshooter if it is going to go for 9 cultists, because we need the full 8 cultists in the composition. So we'll see. Going up to 8, and one more is going to do it. So yeah, this is awkward because now the items need to find a home. Guardian Angel on Zinna is totally fine. Merlinomicon on the Aatrox is also fine. It's not as good.
The
as
suck
having
is
the
pretty
Sublime.
good. Yeah, the suck helps make it okay. The other option there would have been the pike, which honestly I would have preferred. I guess the HP that the Merlinomicon gives is fine. It's kind of, I could take it or leave it. I just remember when it was super meta to put like all your Merlinomicons on pike, so maybe I'm just biased to those days.
Well, I think one of the reasons for putting the Merlinomicon on there is because right now you've got to buy time for your Galibro to come down and start smashing people. And if you've got a slightly stronger frontline, then hopefully all your carries aren't dead by the time Galio 9 turns up. In this case, they pretty much are. I think it's going to be close, but not quite good enough.
6 damage is more than acceptable if you are Sir Bobs, because you know when some of your units actually start powering up, there's at least 2 now, that's another thing. This is going to help. We're going to wait to see some golden units. It's going to be a bit of a slow burn. He's not going to want to level up unless he really wants to get Sharpshooter in. I think we might need to transition our carries, but we don't really have the ability to do that because we don't have the items. Realistically, you'd want to go into this Callista. That's the typical spot where you want to go. You go for Golden Callista, and then you try and index all and make your just composition really, really powerful. Obviously, though, for that, you need Ginsu's Rage Blade.
Alright, so up against Falador here, they have gone for the Keeper set up there with the Kennen and with the Zaya set up. So they're doing an absolute ton of damage and also a reasonably large amount of help cutting through, but it's not good enough. The Galio 9 is just too strong. I mean, as well, yeah, we talked about the Lee Sin as being a threat to the Galio. It's not a unit that can necessarily fit into every composition.
No, you do want to be doing either Divine or Duelist, which very much kind of pigeonholes you into 1 or 2 types of comps. It's going to be interesting. Another Hurricane coming out. Now, that's a perfect item for Callista. So, plot armor might be coming out again. Maybe those new socks are coming in and paying their volume in weight of just every sense of the word weight of just winning it. If we can get a Ginsu Rageblade, there might still be a very strong possibility that Subbobs could absolutely run over everything. But I think we need to see a bit of help because we have been seeing some cracks in Subbobs' composition so far.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going into the late game maybe as comfortable as they would like to, but they are still going in at the top of the scoreboard because Willville has fallen out in the 7th. Malzahar is 1 round away from being knocked out as well, so it's very much a possibility we can see a lot of people leaving. Helix goes up to 9 as well, so I think we are very much into the end game now we've hit stage 6.
We are 1 Sivir off. We are 1 Callista off. We are 2 Pikes off. Do we want to keep this? Okay, we're going for the Azir. Hasn't found it on 50. Is probably going to roll down. Found. That's a huge upgrade, isn't it, Counterfeit?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that is crazy. We might actually see the Ruinous Hurricane going on to the... Okay, no, I thought we might see it on the Zillion for a second because of the Spirit Shojin. But yeah, now we've got a diversified damage. We've got 2 different characters. Sivir's not bouncing across the entire team like she used to, but she's still hitting it like a truck. And anyone she does target will die extremely quickly.
But she is getting stun locked. That CC. There's a lot of stuns coming out from the enemy side, and that Sivir only dealt 4k. We've seen in previous fight that she can easily deal 6, 8, 10k worth of damage. That just wasn't on the cards for this Sivir because she was CC'd a bunch of times, and this is something you've mentioned a few times before, Counterfeit, which I really want to hit on. There's no defensive items, as there's a Callista Gold now coming out. Okay, there's a lot of different stuff coming out, Counterfeit. I want to get your thoughts on all of this.
Oh, I don't know, honestly, if this changes too much. What we are seeing, Callista is great. She's going to eventually become a carry, but there's no duelist here to help enhance her. She will probably kill a couple of units, but, for example, Aatrox is not strong at this point. He's still only a 1-star. We've got defensive units in place to try and keep the 2 golden carries at the back from being taken out early on. I think against this composition here, where it's more of a front-to-back fight, that can work.
Trying to see if it works. The Sivir's already been taken down pretty low in health, but when she gets to do 1 or 2 auto attacks, that Aurelion Soul just came through and chunked most of the team. Double kill there, triple kill there, and the Elise was stolen by the Shyvana, so they get a double kill instead. It's all right. Malzahar fell in that fight, so now we have our bottom four for this one. YLCO in 8th place. We fell in 7th. In the previous round, Salvador fell in 6th, and in 5th place is Malzahar. We have our top 4. Yasun is clinging on 2 HP. Subobs was a lot healthier beforehand, but now is sitting at 15 HP, and Hermit is at 18. Helix is leading the table at 36 HP. Subobs, you have probably one more loss left in you. We are coming into Carousel, so obviously he's probably looking to roll down afterwards as we come in against Hermit.
Yeah, so we've got Hermit here with the Slayers knocking around. See that Trinity getting straight onto the backline, but getting pulled away. I think this is going to be the ones that is alright. Yeah, I think this is for... Oh, anyway, I may be made to eat my words and say.
Oh,
got the
Samira.
resurrection.
Oh, no, Samira. Oh, she couldn't jump around.
Tug it, dummy! Tug it, dummy! You can do it! No! Oh, damn.
Hermit now go down to 6 HP, so it's very, very close. We're not going to 7-4 this time around. We're not going deep into the game. We're going into a normal place. What item will Cerbos be looking for here? I imagine it has to be the Ginsu, right?
Yeah, I mean, as you said before, this is a chance to get a second damage source in the composition. You've got the real big problem that until Galio turns up, you're relying so hard on just Sivir right now. And if you can start pushing through more damage, then you give a much better environment for that Galio to land into, where they're not just going to get surrounded and murdered straight away.
Well, we push all the way up to 9. We don't really have anyone ideal to bring in. He could bring in that Azir for the Sand Soldiers, and it would also give them the option. But at the moment, they have leveled up and just put in that Pike. I was expecting the Azir to come in, because that was the obvious one to get Keeper and everything, right?
Well, I was also potentially expecting to see something else. It looks, just bringing the Pike, all it's doing is making the Galio very slightly strong, but it is providing a good amount of AoE crowd control, so that's apparently the priority here for Sir Bob's up against Helix. You can see, unfortunately, the carries at the back are spending a lot of time stunned up, but they're not dead by the time Galio shows up, which means that Galio's massive health pool is then translated directly to damage.
Huge damage coming out, and it was just enough. It kept them going, and the damage has now been distributed. Hermit has fallen in 4th place, so won't be running up to the top of the table, but still a very respectable 4th place spot. And now we're getting to see the last few options. Helix in 4 HP. Yasen, who has been at 2 HP for the last 2 rounds, is on a hot streak. They're not dying. They are keeping this one in. And let's just see how these next rounds are. We've only got 2 rounds really left in us outside of the friendly round that will be coming up after this one. Oh, it's going to be on a knife's edge. It's going to be Yasen, and let's see if this win streak reigns true with this Kale and Yone, or if it will go in some other direction. This Yone does have Divine. Huge damage coming through. At the moment, that Yone went straight onto nobody. The Sivir is just doing so much damage, and the knockup that comes out from Galio is able to keep them alive for much longer. The Kalista is just going through. She's not dying. She's got the Zillion on her, and there's so much damage. It's not going to be for anything. And Yasen, bye-bye. Avira saying Helix beats whoever's ghost they play, and... oh, Deja Vu is here, Counterfeit.
Haha! Well, if it goes according to form, you can see the check there onto Helix's board, because this is how close Bob's got before. They were in the lead. They seem to be the heir presumptive to the whole game, but now they've got to worry. If this next round, once we get past the PvE, doesn't go the same way, if these 2 backline carriers get taken out early on, they are still going to be in major trouble.
Where do we expect this crit glove to go for the side? Is it something you'd put on a Callista at this point? I guess you've only got 1 fight, so any extra scaling is better than nothing? Or is the AP damage or the crit, is it better used on maybe like Vladimir, for instance, or something else?
I think it's... There we go. There's the Azir you're holding out for. So he's not only going to be able to bring in the Sand Soldiers to help mess with the Aurelian Soul targeting, but he's also going to be able to provide that little Keeper shield as well. So, I mean, this is great. I mean, I think it's very likely that Dual Gauntlet does go onto the Callista for the extra additional punch, because even, unfortunately for Aurelian Soul, one thing he's not really known for is doing a ton of damage, even if you do itemize in that way. I think last second switcheroo, maybe anticipating something shenanigans-wise from Helix. Let's see what they've got for us.
Let's see where they go. That Aurelion Soul, we're going to be watching that this whole time as we already get a bunch of different abilities coming out from that Zillion. There's so many revives coming through, and the Galio, there's so much pressure put onto him. He's in the middle of everybody else. That Aurelion Soul, huge damage coming through. That's a double kill for him, but this Galio just doesn't care. It's like League of Legends in real life. He's got the magic resist. The damage comes through. 3. Is he able to do it? No, he doesn't. Helix wins, and Subbomb falls. It's a rematch. It happened again. Helix will not fall to Surbombs. And what a performance. I'm flabbergasted again, Counterfeit. What is going on? What are these final matches?
It's a tale as old as time, Marswan. I believe that's how the tale goes, at least. I mean, wow, that was incredible stuff. And I think for Helix, this is amazing to get these wins over our Winter 2020 champion as well. To pip them at the post, and they've been looking so strong that game. Of course, a big part of that is going to be the 3-star Shyvana coming through, but the Aurelion Soul with the Guardian Angel, with the Hextech Gunblade as well, just incredible resilience to survive all the way to the end.
Helix won his first ever game in the Newell's tournament, then got a 4th place. Week 3 comes along, gets a 2nd place and a 4th place. Still very respectable results. Always a top 4 player. Back-to-back 1st places. We always get it, Counterfeit. Back-to-back 1st places in the top of the standings. And what a performance. It was YL first, Self Falador in the 2nd week, and in week number 4, or week 3 for Self Falador, and week number 4, it's Helix this time, stopping Surbobs in the finals back-to-back. What a placement. Surbobs lineup, that is 9 cultists. I couldn't have been happier if I was him, honestly, especially with the Azir that came out at the end.
Yeah, it was a really, really good composition. You can see that, for Helix's composition, they even had some vestigial units left over by the end. A 1-star Brand, a 2-star Tristan, just popping the last whisper around the place. But yeah, I mean, I think given enough time, given enough space to get across multiple procs of the Dragon Soul, that will eventually take down anything, no matter how big, even the Galio 9.
And just looking towards down the rest of the standings, while CO sadly fell very early on, just wasn't able to get their composition going. It looks like they were going for a Kale carry composition. They just weren't able to really get that online early enough. So commiserations to them. Stealth Falador had a really good lineup. Double golden unit. This looked like the keeper comp to beat. It just didn't really turn out and plan out for them.
No, one thing I'm noticing from stuff they're kind of missing there is the Guardian Angels just lets you put these carry keepers right on the front line for maximum effect, because they're both extremely dependent on where they're positioned on the board. So I think that did cost them somewhat. Malzahar up there. We're noticing we're seeing multiples of the same compositions coming through here. So we've got a KO composition and Executioners coming in 5th, but we've also we've got it coming in 3rd. We've got it coming in 8th as well.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Hermit. This was a player that was doing pretty well throughout a majority of the competition. He just, especially in these last few rounds, it just didn't quite work out for them. That Lee Sin was going to potentially be a huge problem for Sir Bobs in his Galio, but that never ended up working out. And actually, Sir Bobs was victorious in the mirror match. Yassem was another one who was on 3 HP for like 3 rounds, Counterfeit. And I was like, I'm just expecting them to just find a loss somewhere, even if it's a really close one, and they were able to clinch 3rd, and I thought they might have gone out in 5th place at one point.
Yeah, I mean, and that can be the result of a single round going back or forward. The single decision of, do you slam your items early on, or do you try and hold out for the perfect items, which can be incredibly important in the late game. I think for a lot of our players here, they're kind of realizing that it's such a rarefied environment, it's such a high skill environment, that you can't really afford to hold back and hope for the best, unless, as it is the case with some of our players, you are high rolling the holy heck out of your game.
Yeah, Surbobs and Helix will look back on these rounds and go, we had 2 very different lobbies with how they actually panned out. We had a lobby that was very fast in how it ended. We ended that one still in 6-X. I think it was 6-4, 6-5. I freeze framed. Oh, I'm back now. Hello. And then obviously in the first round, we saw them go all the way into the late 7s. So 2 very different lobbies, 2 very different high roll outcomes, but still same 2 players at the very top, though I don't expect that to be the case coming into week 5.
No, I mean, we're prepared to be surprised every single time we see these players play. All credit though to Sir Bobs in particular, though, coming in as previous season champion. They're still up at the top table. They're still contesting for first place, even if they're missing out by the smallest of margins.
I mean, outside of that 7th place performance in week 3, round 1, they've been at the very, very tippity top. 2 wins, 3 third places, 3 second places now, and 1 7th place. Sir Bobs is running high, and I don't see that slowing down anytime soon, unless something horribly goes wrong, similar to how YLCO experienced this lobby, really.
Yes, I mean, it's a real shame, when we see some of our players from the lower tables come up, they get their chance in the spotlight and then they're just thrown down quite as rudely as they arrive. But, I mean, I think there's a reason, why these players are operating at such a high level, is that they're absolutely merciless, and, trying to hang with a group this good is always going to be a journey of perhaps more than one tournament.
Really will be. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, this tournament was brought to us by Unite students, Twitch students, and Logitech G. Obviously, thank you to our producer Patrick and Newell and Amazon students for helping us out with everything in the back end. Thank you to Omni as well for assisting with all of our general admin and caster queries, to put it politely. Obviously, remember, there are top 8 prizes for this counterfeit. We mentioned at the beginning of this cast that this is halfway point. Top 8, these points that we talked about earlier are starting to come into important place, and there's a £500 worth of prizes for our competitors to compete on.
Yeah, and there's also a pile of RP and Little Legends as well, all building up towards the 1st of April. I mean, I think that, obviously the big winner for tonight is going to be Helix. I mean, they astonished us. I think they managed to astonish Sir Bobs and everybody else. It feels like coming from next week, they're absolutely a player to watch as they take the spotlight. 2 first places. We're starting to see these weeks, week by week, we're seeing different players getting first place. That's how quickly the meta's changing.
Really is. Sir Bobs obviously with those back-to-back second places. I want to mention another player we've talked about, but we haven't gone super in depth. Just to end it here, Hamid had a 3rd place and a 4th place showing. That is something that could very easily go overlooked. They've got a very consistent strategy working out here. They play 2 vastly different comps, and lots of these players, honestly, counterfeit, are going to be who we're going to be excited to see. Obviously, next week, ladies and gentlemen out there, you will be joined by our fellow casting duo of, sadly, not myself, Master One and Counterfeit, but it will be Viperoon and Aladar. But to round us off, what a competition of action today, Counterfeit. I'm still a bit lost for words.
And if any of you guys like what you see, but you're not even at university as of yet, you can still come and join the Newell Discord. That's discord.gg/Newell. Get talking to some of the competitors from today. You can get yourself a Teamfight Tactics role and go and quiz them about their decisions. We've certainly done that in previous weeks. We tormented them about any little thing they get wrong. We say, why did you do this? And they say, I don't know. I was tired. But I hope you guys are not tired of seeing Teamfight Tactics. We've got plenty more coming up.
Yeah, we have got plenty more. Obviously, next week will bring you that action. Following us, we did have to skip week number 2. So following in the next few weeks, penned that announcement, ladies and gentlemen, as you'll be able to learn who we will be having on and when those extra matches will be getting taken place, because we can't miss those matches. So 2 matches will be brought forward for next week. Tomorrow's broadcast coming on is going to be the Women's League of Legends League. So ladies and gentlemen, you won't want to miss that one, as some of the League of Legends action has been the high tech, and I'm impressed with the picks that are coming out from a lot of these women players. But for myself, Counterfeit, Patrick in the abyss or area that is the producer land, for Omni, from all of the people over on the Newell, and for our sponsors of Unite Students, Twitch Students, and Logitech G, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you very soon.